In this lesson, Shrisha and I are going to demonstrate how you can make binding parries. That's where you are holding your opponent's blade in the parry as you're riposting. It gives you a lot more control over their line and over their blade so that you essentially can do whatever you want without concern of being counter-parried. This is very important, especially if you're dealing with someone who is, generally speaking, fairly strong. So, first thing to note, we're going to look at 3 binding parries. We're going to look at one in 4, we're going to look at one in 6, the last one we're going to look at 2. Now 2, generally speaking, is a parry that you're going to see a lot in épée, not so much in foil, but it's still fairly prevalent in foil fencing, it's just overlooked a lot. So let me first explain what a parry 2 is. Parry 2 is where essentially you're hammering down, so your palm is going to face the floor, like this, your blade is parallel with the floor. It's not going to be pointing down, it's not going to be pointing up. So you do your parry in 2, and then you can riposte in that line. So it's good when you're dealing with someone who's probably very deep and they're on guard, and they're just not expecting it. So let's have a look at our binding parries. Shrisha and I are going to help you first with the 2 high line parries. We're going to look at parry 4 and parry 6. Very important to note, I'm going to be dealing with her attacks in those lines, so if she's attacking me in 4, I will parry in 4. If she's attacking me in 6, I will parry in 6. So again, very important, we're going to set ourselves in the recording distance. We don't need to do any movement, we're just looking at the parry and the riposte. So standing in the on-guard position, we're nice and close. This means if she extends, she can hit me, so if she extends, there's the touch. So I know I can get hit, and I know I can hit her. Now, we're on guard. She starts with her attack, so here comes the blade. She's going to start with her hand, not her arm. So there's the parry. I've taken her foible with my fork, and I'm going to start my extension, and there's my hit. Now you can see I have locked her blade. She cannot counter-parry me. She's locked in this line. I have full control. And this is my parry in 4. Now we can do the exact same thing in parry 6. So again, we're on guard. She starts her attack. There's my parry in 6. I extend. And I have control over her blade. It is passing me. It's not going to hit me. It's stuck in that line. And I return back to her. So in both cases, you are affecting the parry in the fork of your blade against their foible. And you're holding or binding with their blade as you start your extension. This allows you to hit them and make sure that their blade is no longer threatening. The last parry we're going to look at is going to be our low line parry. So as I already mentioned, it's quite common in épée, but it is relevant in foil as well. And that's parry 2. That's essentially where you are turning your wrist so your palm is facing the floor and the blade is parallel with the ground. You're going to keep that line. This is very helpful against someone who's in a deep on guard and they're attacking. So again, we're going to stand in the on guard position. And this is going to be a little bit more of a low line parry. So generally in épée, when you do this, you're going to hammer the blade quite hard. But here, it's going to look a little bit like parrying 4. So she starts her extension. There's my parry. And I'm going to come right here. That's the low action. You can see my hand is very low. In parry 4, I was over here, so my palm is kind of facing out towards you. In parry 2, it is facing down. That's because I've locked the blade in that low line. It's still passing me, but it's not going to threaten me. That's not an issue. So very important, remember you take the blade first with your parry, then you start the riposte holding the blade. If you don't, and you parry with a straight arm, you're locked in this position, you can no longer hit the target. So, when doing a binding parry, you need to first articulate, you have to use your wrist, find the foible of their blade with your fork, and then you can start your extension. You want to lock them with your guard so they cannot escape. Very important.